This call has never happened before. It's never going to happen again. The president of Mexico signed the deregulation of telecommunications in Mexico in 2014, and ASEAN is aggressively expanding in the Latin American countries, and this is huge, guys. This is absolutely massive. And the gentleman that we are introducing on the call in a few seconds, I have a huge respect for him. He is called the top producing regional vice president of the company. That's the elite of the elite, guys, and he just understands how massive the opportunity is and how aggressive ASEAN is expanding to Latin America and how this opportunity can just change millions of lives across the globe. And it starts with Puerto Rico and kicking it off in Mexico, guys. It's just so huge. So I'm going to take myself off the line, but the gentleman I'm introducing to the call, which I have huge respect for, everybody, you do not even know, he doesn't have to do this call. Mr. Phil Moser.
Great, ma'am. Thank you very much. Well, first of all, I got to tell you what an honor to be on the call with all of you. Guys, all I want you to understand is the timing of what is happening right now is what Mr. James Adlam wanted me to share with you all. First of all, to clarify things, I want you to understand I'm not Hispanic. I do speak Spanish. And so in case some of you are wondering if this might be a little bit of bias coming from me, nothing could be further from the truth. I'm just excited because I know that this expansion into Latin America, specifically Mexico, is the closest thing cross-border that we've ever seen apart from Canada. And guys, I'm sure you all would agree with me. There's something unique and amazing going on in ASEAN right now. This company is in just absolutely just hyper growth. In the industry, it's called critical mass. It's when a company just has done the right things for so long with the right ownership and the right leadership, like obviously Mr. James Adlam and all the other COC members, that you just get to that point of just such perfection, for lack of a better word, and just things are just about to explode. And here's what I want you to understand is I've done this before. I've been in the industry, for some of you that don't know me, 28 years. And I know you guys are wondering, did I get in when I was 10? No, I turned 53 this year. And I was just a young man in my 20s when I first got involved in this. And it's interesting, for those of you that don't know my storyline, is 3 companies in 28 years, all of them just so happened to start with the letter A. The first one I got involved with was in Amway. And I want to share that story with you because it relates to this specifically, what I'm going to talk to you in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes. And what it was is Amway at that time was looking at launching, after many, many years, not unlike what ASEAN is doing, was looking at launching Latin America. And I was a young man, 24 years of age at the time, very green in the industry, in the military at that time, for those of you that know my background. And I was fortunate enough to be coached and mentored by individuals that are multimillionaires in this industry. And the timing was so unique is when Amway decided to open up Latin America. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Network marketing at that point was not very big in Latin America. There was not a lot of companies. And all I can tell you is within a number of years, because I was at the right place at the right time with the right leadership team, and it was a very unique thing. We developed an organization of over 35,000 people throughout Latin America, within Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, et cetera, et cetera. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Some of you all I know are going, wow, Phil, that's amazing. No, I want you to understand. I wasn't that good even on my best day. I have to tell you very humbly, I was just at the right place at the right time with the right company in those circumstances that had first movers advantage moving into Latin America. And why am I sharing that with you? Because lo and behold, I feel so extremely blessed. I haven't slept for the last 3 months, to be honest with you. When I called from the co-founder and with Larry Raskin, I went to go visit with them, and they said, Phil, we're relaunching Mexico, but this time we're going to do it like the U.S. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of looked at him, just kind of tilted my head to the right and the left, and I said, okay, so tell me what's going to happen. He said, Phil, we're going in with Flash Wireless. I got to tell you, my heart skipped a beat. And the reason I'm sharing with you my Amway story of many years ago is for some of you, your moment is happening right here, right now, and I think some of you don't even realize what I'm talking about. Let me just kind of back up 18 months ago to what happened in Latin America and Mexico specifically. I was there when it happened in Mexico City, and it was announced at El Palacio, which is the government palace in Mexico City, when they have proclamations, they announce them, and it was announced publicly 18 months ago that the whole country of Mexico passed into law La Reforma, which means the deregulation, for lack of a better word. You know, the word literally means reform, but let's call it deregulation of the telecom and the energy industry. Now, guys, here's what I want you to understand. I want you guys to just follow me here, because the unique timing of this, as some of you might not capture, is the same thing happened in the U.S., but it happened in 15-year gap. 1990-91, the telecom industry deregulated in the U.S., and more millionaires were created because of the deregulation of the telecom industry, and even billionaires like Kenny Trout, which was the founder of ACN. Listen to me, of Excel Communications. Okay, he became a billionaire, and guys, all of that was done on a $15 average long distance bill. And companies like AT&T and Verizon and MCI, which is no longer around, was formed. Right? You guys remember that? And that was 15 years. And then 15 years later, okay, you have a situation that happened where the energy business deregulated, starting with California, then Texas, and it's just an amazing thing, and that process happened again, and more wealth was created out of that than any other time in U.S. history apart from the Industrial Revolution. Now, in perspective, guys, since that happened in 1990-91, and then it happened again in the 2003-2005 range, again, you all agree with me, there was a 15-16-year gap there. Well, let me put this in perspective. In Mexico, 18 months ago, the whole country, okay, deregulated for telecom and energy at the same time. Now, I want to take a pause there because I want you guys to just kind of soak that in. Now, here's what's very unique, okay? And the storyline when you're contacting people is, would you all agree with me that ACN is number one on a global level at taking advantage of the situation, the unique opportunity that presents itself when a country deregulates? And I know you guys are all nodding your head and say, yes, look, we've done it in Spain, we've done it in Portugal, we've done it in France, we've done it in Germany, we've done it in England, we've done it in Australia, Canada, we're opening up Japan. You guys know what's happening on a global level. So here's why this is so unique. Unlike most other U.S. companies that when they want to expand internationally, the first country they go to is Mexico because it is the least expensive way to go cross border. Okay, and in case you don't make it, you can back up and you're not that far from home. But here, ACN decided to do something completely different. They have gotten so good at this that after 24 years of patiently waiting, the time has arrived for us to launch Mexico. So what does that mean to you? Guys, this means that literally, okay, this will be where the next SVPs, COCs, and millionaires, I dare say multimillionaires in ACN are going to be created, okay? And what you guys need to understand is that this will fall under one of the organizations that is already in place, like Mr. James Adlam, like yours, like Mr. Casey Snyder's, and all the other leaders represented in this on this call today. And guys, it's that cut, and it's just that simple. Why can't I sleep? Well, let me just kind of give you some numbers, okay? Because I hope I create, Mr. James Adlam, a case of insomnia on your team. I hope that these people can no longer sleep after the information I share with them, because I can't. See, and the way I look at it is if I can't sleep, nobody else should sleep as well. So let me just kind of give you a perspective of what the potential is here. 108 million potential cell phone customers. There is actually more cell phone users okay, in Mexico than there is population. Very interesting, right? But let me just tell you something. It is the fastest growing cellular market in the world. Let me repeat that. It is the fastest growing cellular market in the world. Okay, Mexico is. So imagine this, because of the relationship that ACN has with a company called Telefonica, that they have been doing business with for years in Spain, which, by the way, Telefonica, in case you guys are wondering, is the second largest cell phone provider in Europe after Vodafone, which is a German company. And interestingly enough, Telefonica owns the second largest cell phone provider in Mexico, which is called Movistar, Movistar, Movistar. And guys, we just signed 3-4 weeks ago an exclusive long-term contract, never had been done before by any company in Mexico, okay, whereby we are going to be able to, with Flash Wireless, use their network and activate people at prices that are going to blow people out of the water. Literally, some of the numbers that I'm hearing is up to 10% cheaper than Movistar themselves is selling it at retail. Cheaper than AT&T, who just bought 2 companies in Mexico because they want to take advantage of deregulation that just was passed into law. They bought 2 companies, Usacell and Nextel. That's how they're going to compete against the number one 800-pound gorilla, which is Carlos Slim's company, which is Telmex originally, which was government-owned, that is now called Telcel. And guys, we're going to have prices 20 to 30% cheaper than everybody else. But let's just say for a moment, if our prices are exactly the same, who cares? Because if you start and you try to live on price, you die on price. My value-added proposition, and I'm telling everybody, is we will be the only company, listen to this, the only company in Mexico to offer a program which is called Strive for 5. In Spanish, it's called Alcance tu Cinco, and where literally every customer will be able to, like we say in Texas, bird dog for your IBOs, and if they get 5 customers, their cell phone will be free. Guys, and in this critical time in Mexico, where the economy is at a 10 to 12-year low, where their currency is just is devaluating on a daily basis and losing value, and their cost of living is going up, folks, free is a big deal. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not. It is a big deal, okay? Especially on a commodity that is habitually used every single day, and it's a necessity. Let me just put it this way. In most people's case, it went from a luxury to a necessity to almost being an addiction. Would you all agree with me? Can't with our cell phones. For good, bad, and different, it just is what it is. So imagine being able to offer people aggressive pricing compared to the competitors with the second largest and best cell phone provider in Mexico, but also having a program where the customer refers 5 people, their cell phone is free. When the IBO gathers 5 customers, their service can be free. You guys get that? So let's back up, though, to those 108 million potential customers. 87% of those, okay, are prepaid. Mexico is very unique. Latin America is very unique in the cellular products because most people do not have a credit to have the plan and to have some of the more aggressive plans. So they don't have the credit, they don't have the money to be on plans, so most of them are on prepaid. And what they do is they go to the local store, okay, at the corner store, the aux store, whatever it is, and they go recharge their phone 2-3 times a month. Now, let me ask you this, because this is where I came up with the 3 questions that I want you guys to learn, and I hope Mr. James Adlam, just allows me to share this with you, and I'm going to because you guys have seen the video, but please ask, and anything I share with you today, please make sure you counsel with Upline to make sure you can utilize this. But here's the thing. The peaking questions I ask are 3 simple questions, and you guys are going to want to write this down. And I know this is going to sound like a no-brainer, but I want you to understand this is all about keeping simple, okay? And then I'm going to wrap up and tie everything together so you can understand how big this is and how you guys right now listening to this call have first mover's advantage because we are not even launching for the next 90 to 120 days, okay? But understand that what question number one is. Whenever you meet somebody that is Latino, and by the way, guys, you don't have to speak Spanish to do this. If you do, it's that much better. But would you all agree with me that most Mexican nationals that are my friends that have come and immigrated to this country to work their butts off, it's very unique. They're completely different than us. They actually make the effort to learn the language. Okay? Most of us never have to because, that's just we're insulated in our own bubble. But most of them are bilingual to some form or some extent or another. And all you got to ask them is three simple questions. Question number one is, how many people do you know in Mexico that use a cell phone on a daily basis? Now, I want that to sink in for a minute because you guys are probably going, same thing everybody always does when I ask them the question. They kind of look at me and go, Phil, that's a stupid question. It's a stupid question because the automatic answer is everyone. Would you all agree with me? Which leads you to the second question that you want to ask somebody when you're piquing them that are from Mexico. How many of those, okay, do you think would like to pay less or even get it for free? And please pause in between. Pause for effect, look at them, and see the dumbfounded look on their face because obviously pay less they get free, they're trying to figure out, well, what are you talking about? And see what you're doing is engaging them. And here's the third question. You guys ready for this? The third question is very simple, okay? If you could partner up with a 24-year-old company that is going to open up in Mexico and compete directly with the major monopolies and allow you, now listen to this because this is a key phrase, allow you to get paid every time someone uses a cell phone like Mr. Carlos Slim and Telcel, would you be interested in finding out how? Now, guys, some of you are going, wow, Phil, okay, are you serious? Yes, that's what we're talking about. See, Mr. Carlos Slim is the richest man in Mexico. And can I tell you a secret? He's not even Mexican. His family is Lebanese. So here's what I want you to understand. He's an immigrant just like me that came to the U.S. looking for opportunity, except his family went to Mexico. He was at the right place at the right time, bought Telmex, which was owned by the government, and turned it into Telcel and became the richest man in the world, and he's not even Mexican from birth. How huge is that, guys? So imagine when you're telling people, okay, you can get paid like Mr. Carlos Slim every time somebody uses a cell phone. Would you be interested in finding out how? Guys, game over. And all you've got to tell them from there is, listen, we don't have all the details yet, but here's what I can tell you. We have the contract in place. We're putting everything together in place. Show them the comp plan in the U.S. and say it's going to be, okay, parecido, it's going to look like this. Parecido means look like, okay, this, okay, like in the U.S., and then say to them, matter of fact, okay, if you have a tax ID number or Social Security number, you can sign up here, start your business here with all the services that we have, build a team, build an army, and when we launch in the next 90 to 120 days, you will have an army of people going to Guadalajara, to Mexico City, to San Luis Potosí, to Coahuila, to Durango, to Monterrey, to Puebla, all Querétaro, and it goes in Cancun. And guys, it goes on and on and on. And the reason that Mr. James Adlam wanted me to share this with you is because here's what I can guarantee you, okay? You are going to see more individuals become TCs, RDs, and RVPs in record time than you've ever seen before, because this is the first time in history that this is happening in Mexico. And we are the only company that are going to go in with a service only. And guys, why is that so big? Because I talked to a big network marketing leader the other day, and I need to share the story with you. Has over 30,000 people, okay, or 50,000 people on his team. And I said, sir, congratulations, great job. You know what, I've been in the product business. I felt like just going, I'm not worthy, because I know what it takes for him to do what he's done. And I asked them a simple question, guys, and I want to put this in perspective so you can understand how big this is going to be in Mexico and how you having first mover's advantage is mind-blowing if you take advantage of what I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes of what you need to do as a call to action. And all I asked them is a simple question. Out of those 50,000 distributors, how many of them on a daily basis, sir, either buy, sell, or use and consume one of the Herbalife products? Okay, he got real quiet, and he says, well, probably 30%. And I go, wow, congratulations. And I go, that's awesome. And I said, now let me ask you the question so you can understand how big this is going to be. How many of those same 50,000 distributors that you have, you know beyond a reasonable doubt today are going to use their cell phone? And he got dead quiet. And I said, would you agree with me that the income potential on cell phone service that it's habitually used, unconsciously purchased every single day, and is a necessity, not a luxury, okay, almost an addiction, is going to be huge. Guys, that's how big this is. So let me ask you this question. If we have aggressive pricing, if we have Strive for 5, if we have great service, an aggressive comp plan where people are going to get paid like in the U.S. to acquire customers up front and get paid residuals on the back end on their personal customers and on their whole group and downline customers, do you think we have something huge? Yes, we do. We're going to be the first and only network marketing company in Mexico in a down economy to come in with a service, not a product. Folks, people are burnt out on products. They're tired of auto ship. They're tired of paying 500 to 1,000 pesos a month, okay, of auto ship to make 200 to 300 pesos. It just, the math doesn't add up. But here, guys, there's not going to be any auto ship. There's not going to be any products. It's going to be service only. So my question is, with an aggressive plan like that, with 108 million potential customers, would you all agree with me that us capturing 1%, 2%, 3% of the market is not unreasonable, right? So my question is, okay, to you is, if we can capture 2 to 3 million customers in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, my question is simply to this to you, okay? How many of those customers would you like to have in your downline? And I know what you guys are thinking. Hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, thousands, whatever your number and your belief is what's going to happen, right? But guys, that's how huge this is. So what's the call to action? Guys, start talking to everybody that you know. Go, and let me tell you something. Let's create a blitz, okay? Let's create a blitz. And I know there's a bunch of you out here in the Northeast. Look, I used to live right there in Baltimore. I used to live in Towson. And I know some great Mexican restaurants in Towson. You know what I would do? I would start to frequent Mexican restaurants. I would start finding out who the business owner is and ask them the 3 questions. How many people do you know that use a cell phone in Mexico where you're from? You know, find out where they're from. And they're going to say, I'm from Puebla. Fantastic. Let me ask you something. You know, how many people do you know that use a cell phone? And they're going to look at you and go, okay, where are you going with this? Everybody. How many of those would like to get, pay less or even get it for free? Everybody. Now, if you and the people you knew in Mexico, okay, could partner up with a 24-year-old company that is going in to compete, okay, because of deregulation that just happened with Telcel, and allow each and every person you know, including you, to get paid like Carlos Slim and Telcel everybody somebody uses a cell phone, would you be interested in finding out how? Guys, it's over. Game over. That's it. So my recommendation to you all, and strictly as a friend, is go out and talk to everybody. Talk to everybody and find out if they have a Hispanic contact. I don't care if you've got to go through the yellow pages. I don't care if you have to just, look at just online or whatever. Find Mexican restaurants, Mexican-owned businesses. You guys know in Baltimore there's certain specific areas, okay, that are there around Columbia or whatever it is. I remember frequenting some of them where there is a high population density of Mexican nationals. Take advantage of that, guys. Share with them the opportunity. Let them know what's happening. Guys, the soft dates right now that I'm hearing from Mr. Larry Raskin, his soft launch is going to be around September, official launch around October. But here's what I can tell you. We need to start talking to people now. All I've been doing is creating a buzz. All I've been doing is creating a buzz. And if any of you all want to use anything that I'm posting on Facebook, my name is Phil, P-H-I-L, last name Moser, M-O-S-E-R. I'm posting about the 3 questions. I posted one in English. I posted one in Spanish. Guys, learn the 3 questions. Start peaking people and just get them towards your uplines, your RVPs, your TCs, your RDs, your RVPs, so they can paint the vision, share the story about what's about to happen, and how they can have first movers advantage over what's going on. And the last thing I want to promote to you is this. Any of you that have key individuals that are business owners and entrepreneurs, what you want to do is you want to talk to Mr. James Adlin, you want to talk to Mr. RVP Casey Snyder, you want to talk to all your upline, and you want to figure out a way to get these people to Philadelphia in September and show them the big picture. Because I can guarantee you, you get them to Philadelphia. Let me tell you what I'm doing. And I told Mr. James Adlam, and I'm going to close with this. I am bringing in around 250 individuals from Mexico. Some of them, and I'm going to tell you right now, I am either paying for their hotel, I'm paying for their flights, I'm paying for their entrance in, or I'm paying one or more. I'm investing some money doing this. But here's all I can tell you is I have long-term vision and understand that if I get people to a major event, let me share with you my story. Your upline, Mr. James Adlam, was the person that I got to see a little over 2.5 years ago when Mike and Patrick Mazer flew us in to Charlotte on a Sunday after our event, the other company I was in, was done. They flew us in, and we caught the tail end, and I got to see for the first time somebody that now I hold in such high regard, and it's just an unbelievable individual, which is your upline, SVP, Mr. James Adlam, was closing out the Sunday, and then came from Mr. Greg Provenzano. Guys, that's all I had to see. And I was sitting there at the Charlotte Arena, and I was looking around on a Sunday, and I figured most of the people must have, were going to leave by then, but it was packed. And everybody was fired up, and we're just, oh my God, what is going on? And I hadn't felt that kind of energy in years in the industry. Years that I've been involved, I hadn't felt that kind of energy. And why am I sharing this with you? Is because that right there sealed my decision to resign as a top income earner with that other company and plant my flag in AC. This is where I will breathe my last breath. And the reason I'm sharing that with you guys is simply this. Don't shortchange yourself and not get some of your people that are key individuals to the Philadelphia event. It is going to be, I guarantee you, this will be, if not one of the biggest, I believe will be the biggest event ACN has ever had. You get people there from Mexico to understand our culture, to understand the integrity of owners, to meet your leaders, and to understand that they can be the first to plant their flag in Mexico and have first movers advantage, and it's game over. And the investment that you will make now will multiply itself so many times over that you guys will be, over the years, sitting there on a beach, coming to Africa on the trip like I spend with some of the leaders in Costa Rica, and I can guarantee you will not be thinking, oh, I can't believe I invested in for people to come in or to pay for their hotel or help them with their airfare. That's the last thing. You're going to be sitting there at the RVP trip looking around going, I'm so glad I did this. Because look at the lives that we touched in Mexico.